So Resident Evil 2 is finally being remade. You wanted it, you'll fucking get it. It's been nearly 20 years since Resident Evil 2 first launched back in 1998, and really not a lot has changed. The England national team is still getting gloriously dispatched from international tournaments like the fucking chances they are. The monarchy still bestrides the nation, propped up with popular support from so many weapons, you'd think the UN should probably intervene. And video games people are still arguing amongst themselves to distract their petty little lives from the nameless dread. But one thing has changed, and that's Resident Evil 2. Anyone that was there will still look back on it and say how beautiful it looks, and the pre-rendered backgrounds do give it a certain agelessness. But show it to anyone who was born after 2005, reared on Minecraft or anything else, and they'll probably tell you it looks like a fire in a fucking leather goods store. Which is why Resi 2 Remake is important. The original Resident Evil was remade with such care and attention back in 2002 that it only needed a comparatively minor spruce up last year to be re-released on current consoles. If the Resi 2 team correctly resists the urge to give it the full 3D behind-the-shoulder whiz-bang extravaganza of later titles and gives it the same attention as Resi Remake, it will be glorious. Thematically, RE2 is actually a lot more similar to the original than people give it credit for. However, just imagine what the artists on the team could do with that bizarrely gothic police station, or the sewers, or the city streets. If they do that right, Resident Evil 2 won't be a game, it'll be a fucking time machine, albeit one where you go back and the past looks better than the future, like a bloody Star Wars prequel or something. There's also the question as to what Capcom will do to the scenario system of Resident Evil 2, which saw campaigns, characters, where you go, what you do, changed on whether you finished the game with Claire or Leon first. It was a delicious twist on New Game Plus, really before that was even a thing, and before the pedants come out, it was a thing, but I'm just talking before Dark Souls came along and made it the thing. Resi players love the series for many things, but one of the key elements that drive people forward is seeing more of those beautifully rendered environments. The scenario system gave them more of those, and crucially gave them different ones that they couldn't see before. If the Resi 2 team can get that right again, it'll be the greatest game of all time. Resi Remake's graphical overhaul gets a lot of well-deserved plaudits. It is, of course, the most obvious thing about it, which is different. But what really made fans excited was the changes to the grounds, to the characters, and to what you did in and around the mansion. Entire new subplots were added to Resident Evil Remake. New characters, new grounds, new weapons, things to do and see. Imagine if they did that with Resident Evil 2 Remake. What if they brought back some of the stuff that was missing from Resident Evil 1.5, like grenades or body armor, or more blue lighting than James Cameron's entire filmography? Saturn Resident Evil may have beaten Resi 2 to the punch in terms of introducing mini-games to the series, but it was the fourth Survivor which saw you playing as Special Forces Idiot Hunk on a mission to retrieve the G-sample, which really kicked that into gear. It started the path which then went on to the Mercenaries in Resident Evil 3, and then of course the Mercenaries again in Resident Evil 4. A mini-game so good that it bettered Sega's full-priced and full-sized attempt to better it with the club. If Resi 2 keeps the fourth Survivor, and tofu for the idiots out there, but introduces mercs, then it will be the best thing since the last best thing. In fact, the only thing keeping this thing from being the best thing since the last thing is that the original director of Resident Evil 2, Hideki Kamiya, will not be returning, having moved on to Platinum to make amazing games, or when he's not doing that, spend all of his time being the world's biggest Twitter troll. The lack of Kamiya's input could be telling. People forget that Resi Remake was directed by Shinji Mikami, director of the original Resident Evil, just 6 years after that game launched, and his desire to build out on what was there, to fix, to rejig, or whatever shows. There's virtually no chance of Kamiya returning, so you could say he's blocked himself, the mad old wank.